Joining me now is the parish president of Lafourche Parish, Mr. Archie Chiasson, and he is coming via Skype. And Mr. Chiasson, we appreciate your time. How are you today, sir?
Things are good, Martin. With momentum builds every day, so we're doing okay.
Yeah, and I can hear the rain in the background, either on your roof or mine, so we'll try to get through it. I just had a conversation with a FEMA representative in my office, and I specifically asked him how much money has been distributed in Terrebonne and Lafourche Parish, and he told me 60 to 70 million dollars, and my response to him was, where? Because everybody I'm talking to has not received their check. I further asked the question, is it in the computers as being given out but not really given out? And he didn't have an answer, and I felt sorry for the man because it's probably a bureaucratic process when it goes up the chain. So any word from you? Because I got to tell you, I was pretty irritated.
Yeah, so we continue to beat those drums every day, too. We get a number. We have over 33,000 residents who have registered for individual assistance with FEMA, and the number they like to give us is the approved number. So there's $50 million that's been approved for Lafourche Parish residents, but only a small fraction of that has actually hit their bank account. So knowing that, it's one of those things that I think we're going to have a very uncomfortable conversation with FEMA over the next couple of days about why it's taking so long once they get approved for that individual assistance to actually get in their bank accounts.
Excuse me for saying this, but I feel it. I feel like maybe they just don't want the Bayou residents to live as far down south as they've been living. And I know it's a conspiracy theory. We've heard it for a while. But, I mean, the actions are matching that narrative because, one, we don't have the trailers coming in, and two, I don't hear a whole lot of people getting the FEMA checks. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I mean, I know of some people who have gotten the small amounts, that $500 they initially put out for the evacuation, or maybe the $500 or $800 for the generators or the chainsaws. But the big bulk of people that we have talked to have initially been denied by FEMA because they probably had some type of home insurance or wind and hail or flood policy. So they have to go back through that appeal process, which is tough. We've done it. It's kind of like the blue roofs in the beginning, right? We've done a really good job at registering people and saying, yeah, we have 33,000 registrants, but exactly how many of those people have we actually touched and gotten the assistance to that they need? And that's been the frustrating part of the last couple of days. And you and I had the conversation earlier today. It's the same thing with insurance adjusters. And I know Commissioner Dylan is going to be with you too. Getting these adjusters to realize that just because we live in South Louisiana doesn't mean that we're a third world country. And we should be treated just like the people who flooded in Manhattan because of Ida, that I'm sure have gotten their adjustments and their FEMA checks in the bank already. Just because we're not a blue state or a blue parish doesn't mean that we mean any less than anybody else in this country. And it's time they owned up to their end of the bargain after years of paying either premiums for insurance or paying our regular old tax dollars to Uncle Sam, that we get some benefit for that on the back end.
You're right, because I was in La Rose, I was in Galliana, I was in Golden Meadow, your neck of the woods, and everybody I talked to, I asked them, have you heard from your insurance person? Now, look, I'm going to preface this by saying we have a lot of good agents. There's no doubt. Some agents have already made people whole, but there's a large majority of agents who are trying to get it up the corporate channel, can't get it through because it's bogged down in adjusters who have no experience whatsoever. And I'm talking even the big boys have adjusters that are incompetent. So the whole thing is train wrecked, and we have people who don't have the means to live past 1 week that are really struggling. And we're going to see some mental anguish, and I hate to say it, I'm very fearful of somebody taking their own life because they're very desperate at this point.
Yeah, it's tough, Martin. And I think this is it's a post-Katrina issue, right? Because a lot of the big guys, after Katrina, when wind and hail became so expensive, some of them, actually left after Katrina. They started to sell off these policies. So while I have a great agent with Company X, my policy is not with that company. Whether it's Allstate, State Farm, Farm Bureau, Progressive, any of the majors, right? They've sold that to an offshoot company to do the wind and hail. So my homeowner's insurance may be great if it wasn't a hurricane, but we get adjusters from these out of town or out of state firms that are coming in for these other insurance companies. And one, they're overwhelmed. Two, they may not know what they're doing. And three, there's just so much devastation on the ground. it's just, it could take a while. So it's, again, I hope the commissioner can help push. I had a great conversation when he stopped here a few days ago. I think it was last week maybe, that he popped into the EOC, and he was committed. He was, congratulating us, I guess, to a certain extent, because we called for a mandatory evacuation, and that helps in some cases, where they don't have to, the insurance companies can't deny your evacuation claims because we actually called for a mandatory. But it's those postings. It's once you get home, how fast that adjuster get here, how fast can you get a new roof on your house, and start drying in so you can actually gut it and start replacing stuff. That's tough when you're trying to balance a career, kids. We're going back to school here very shortly in Central and South Lafourche, so you got to juggle all that while fighting with an adjuster. It gets tough. And look, our community action office is open. We just hired a family therapist, so if anybody does need to talk to somebody, we have that option available. We brought that person in not only help with our kids at Head Start as they come back to school, but with families who may need help coping. So I think that's going to be a very long-term recovery issue that we can focus on here, and hopefully we can help with the faith-based community to pray with people as well, just so, just help us get through it as we all kind of continue to juggle this stuff.
With about 30 seconds left, if they're BSing me in the media and you as a parish president, they're BSing the people out there in the field, so that scares me a lot,
No doubt. At least we can yell back at them, though. Sometimes the average Joe doesn't get that opportunity, but we'll keep doing it.
You're right. I appreciate it, Archie. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll get more updates as the days go by, but keep it moving over there in Lafourche, and we appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, Martin.
All right, there you have the parish president of Lafourche Parish, Archie Chiasson. We'll be right back.